Welcome friends to another r/ProRevenge video. If you want to join me in getting revenge against the YouTube algorithm, make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons down below. That said, our first story of the day is by Duke Fishron. Cheapskate cousin refuses to let me take shower. No problem. I'll use more water in the sink. Tonight, I was going to take a Navy shower when my cousin, I'll call her Karen, blocked the entrance to the bathroom and said, "You either use a washcloth under your arms or no getting in here." I say, I was all around an undisclosed city today getting stuff done. I stink like crap. Karen says, I don't give a crap. My water bill's too high and you used to be homeless. You never took showers. I say I washed my butt in a McDonald's sink every night. I don't want to deal with that crap again. She says, I do not care, it's about being mature. So I did what Karen asked, but with a twist. I washed my entire body in her sink. From the front to the butt, all in the family sink, while using more water, 15 gallons, than if I took a Navy shower, 2 to 7 gallons. I'm all for conserving water whenever you can. And I get your water bill adds up if you were living in a place that charges you per how much water you use. But if a person stinks and they need a shower. In a situation like that, do you think it's actually inhumane to deny a person a shower? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Our next story is by Zealous Ideal Fig 2020, Amplified Ukulele in Upstairs Apartment. This one is really small. Most of my revenge is usually to just be quietly hard to reach or otherwise unhelpful. But that would not have helped this situation. God only knows why this young man felt the need to plug his uke into an amp and practice badly at all hours. I knew that it was that apartment. I was regularly up late at night because of him, so I had time to investigate. I tried filing noise complaints, apartment security regularly visited him. I would also trek up there, but that was hardly a deterrent. I was an attractive 20-year-old who slept naked, so I would wrap my sheet around me to go up there and groggily lean against the doorframe, insisting it was him. I could see the uke. One night, I heard loud sex waking me up instead of the uke. I wrapped my sheet around me and went upstairs, but instead of knocking, I left a note on the door. More sex, less ukulele. The rest of the week, it was silent. A few days later, I ran into him with his friends in the elevator. "Did you get my note?" I asked. "Why the heck would you write that?" He looked uncomfortable and confused. "Your ukulele playing's improved a little. I'd rather listen to you have sex. At least I can sleep to that. If I had to fall asleep to the sound of you doing that every night, but never had to hear that ukulele again, that would be fine. I'm just trying to encourage you, bro. I hope this girl works out." His friends were laughing at him and at me. "What the freak?" one of them asked. Uke bro was speechless. My revenge was embarrassing this guy in front of his friends, and possibly the lover if she was there. Note, this was over 10 years ago, but I think I found out she saw it and was too embarrassed to return to the apartment. My victory was that I never heard ukulele or sex from his apartment again. I actually love that this guy was so willing to play ukulele so badly amplified, but is only actually embarrassed about the sounds they blatantly make when they realize they're blasting out their intimate sounds. It's like, bro, you're massacring people's ears with that ukulele, and only after the intimate sounds are you embarrassed about how you sound? I'd be mortified if people heard me play an instrument terribly like that. Our next story is by AUAU Gold Scoffs. God bless TV. So my family, which consists of a 3-week-old baby and my wife and I, we're all living in a hotel. And unfortunately, a girl wrestling team checked in tonight. First thing these punk butt kids do is bang on the wall when they hear our baby crying, which straight up shows they're craps of human beings, and we can hear them laughing like they think they're so funny. So I go down to the front desk, complain, and they call their coach. The coach yells at them, some time passes, and then they bang on the wall again. So I ask if we can move to a different room, and after getting everything out and the family set up in a new room on the other side of the building, I enact my revenge. Now, I didn't think the TV would go all the way up to 100, but it did, and it sounds like a darn concert blaring. And then I find a marathon of what seems to be a singing show and set the TV timer for 3 hours and leave. I hope they lose every match due to lack of sleep, those little freak poops. Isn't the normal behavior to try to do whatever you can to not hear the baby crying? You gotta be a special kind of twisted in the brain both to get joy out of annoying a baby like that and then finding it funny that you hear this baby crying over and over. I know they're kids and kids will be kids, but they're really not meeting the already very low bar. This next story is by Fractal5150, Revenge on a Sailor. When I served in the Navy, there was a shipmate of mine who had the live-in girlfriend soap opera going on. Every day it was something new, seemed like they liked to torment each other. Finally, he had enough and was going to end the relationship. The ship was going out to sea for 1 week to test the repairs made on the propulsion systems. The morning we were pulling out, he gleefully came to work and announced he had told her to leave by the time he gets back. We were all happy as well, as we could not take much more of the drama. That is, until someone brought up the fact that we're gone for a week, and she can totally destroy the apartment and clean out all his belongings for an entire week. Do you think she would do that? I wanted to choke the guy. We came back from sea. He came in the next morning, announcing not a thing was wrong. Her stuff was gone, and the apartment was the way he left it. We were all relieved. This is the part that reveals my age. Way back when 1,000,000 years ago, there were telephone long-distance rates. Long-distance rates were somewhere around 20 to 30 cents a minute for calls in the United States. Quite a bit more, at least double for international calls. Okay, keep those prices in mind. About a month later, my shipmate gets a phone bill for a few $1,000s, and we are laughing our butts off. The young lady had a brother stationed in Japan, where she found out the phone number to the time and temperature line. She called the time and temperature line in Japan and left the phone off the hook. He does remember hanging up the phone, but didn't think anything of it. The bill came in a large envelope of many pages, and you could see the rate changes when the peak hour rates ended and started for an entire week. Funny as heck. In the end, the phone company agreed to average that bill with a year's worth of bills, but it was still a good chunk of money back then. Yeah, I would definitely say when you're going through a rocky relationship and especially a breakup, the last thing you're gonna want to do is to give anybody unbridled access to your living space. And honestly, that's like even for an hour, let alone an entire week. The phone bill was pretty darn bad, but there could have been anything in that house that they cared about gone or slightly messed up or hidden, or the whole place could have been twisted around and mixed up. This next story is by USP45 Hunter. His stupid driving caused a wreck, but I walked off with a little satisfaction. I was driving around knocking out some last-minute Christmas stuff last week, and I'm getting ready to pull into a Target, turning left across traffic from a dedicated turn lane. Another car pulls up in the lane next to my right, not a turn lane, stops, puts his signal on as though he also wants to turn into the Target. No problem, except that he stopped in the middle of the street with traffic rapidly approaching behind him. I guess a couple of cars don't see him in time and rear-end collide trying to avoid his dumb butt. I pull into the lot, as does he, while the other cars are now wrecked and limping off the road to exchange info. The guy had no idea what just happened. He pulls in a Target without a care in the world, cruises around and finds a spot, gets out. I said, "Man, do you realize you just caused an accident because you were stopped in the middle of the street?" He looks at me dumbfounded, says, what? Like he was completely stoned out of his mind or something. Yeah, you completely locked up traffic and caused a wreck. And now the police are on the way, and I've got your license plate info, so I wouldn't go anywhere, I told him. Crap, man, He's just stammering away, obviously messed up. He's looking, panicky, over toward the street where it happened. The cars have since left. Maybe the damage was minimal, who knows, but he's freaking out. Yeah, dude, you probably better stay put or they're gonna nail your butt for leaving the scene, I told him. Of course, I had no idea if the police were actually called or not, nor did I really care, but this guy was 1, a total idiot, 2, likely high or otherwise impaired and needed to have his evening speed bumped a bit. I parked on the other side of the lot, walked into the store, killed about an hour and a half checking stuff off my kids' lists. When I walked out, the idiot was still there, pacing back and forth, looking over near the road like he was expecting a SWAT van to roll up any moment. I drove past him on the way out, rolled down my window, and he sees me and says, "Dude, did you say the cops are coming? I haven't seen anyone yet, I'm freaking out, man." "Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're on their way, bud. You probably better hold tight," I said as I drove off. Stupid jerk is probably still pacing around the parking lot melting down. You come back that way for some morning coffee, see him pacing around there still. You sure they're on their way, man? Yeah, man, I think they're on their way, it's the holiday season. I think their hands are a little tied up right now, but just hold on tight, they might be here in a day or two. Hopefully by the time this guy inevitably got back on the road, he sobered up a little bit. Our next story is by Chemical420, A Petty Christmas on My Evangelical Family. First off, I take no issue with anyone's religious beliefs as long as they aren't harming others. I fully recognize that every belief system has its share of people who will aggressively try to force their beliefs on others, including atheism. So with that out of the way, I grew up in a very religious family, but became an atheist in my college years. To this day though, my family still tries everything they can to convert me back to Christianity. Every year for Christmas, they get me some religious book like The Purpose-Driven Life, or something by Joel Osteen. I have repeatedly asked them to please stop the thinly veiled attempts to force their religion on me, and for 10 years, I've been ignored. So this year for Christmas, I bought my brother a copy of The God Delusion by Richard Dawkins, my dad a copy of God Is Not Great by Christopher Hitchens, and my mother a copy of Good Without God by Greg M. Epstein. The looks on each of their faces as each gift was opened became increasingly angry. Finally, my dad spoke up and said, "What on earth would possess you to buy these blasphemous books for us?" You can imagine the look of dumbstruck realization on their faces when I in turn asked, "So you don't like it when I try to force my beliefs on you then?" There was kind of a stunned silence in the room while they stared daggers at me, but I was prepared and brought out their real presents. Hopefully lesson learned on their part, but I won't hold my breath. I think this was definitely a very good revenge. I could be wrong, but I feel like maybe the problem here is with a lot of these people with their religion, they really make it their identity a little bit too much, and it kind of manifests itself within the gifts they give to others. Whether it's like a cross necklace or a book about Christianity, because to them that's just what seems right. So it was good that OP gave them this wake-up call, and hopefully it does wake them up to it. This next story is by Internal Researcher 8, Wrong way in a tight parking lot? Nope, no backing up for you. My dad took my mom to the ER a while back because she was having an allergic reaction and couldn't breathe. They called me to let me know, and I rushed over there. When I get there, my dad told me that he'd parked in the fire lane to get her inside quicker. He asked if I'd go move his truck to a parking space. I went to move it, and as I was moving through the lot looking for a space, some woman proceeds to come down the aisle the wrong direction, wanting to exit the lot via the entrance about 30 feet behind me and not in a straight line. The aisle is very narrow, and I'm driving a truck that's not mine and is much larger than what I'm used to. So I refused to back up in that tight space. She started honking her horn at me and waving to tell me to back up. I put it in park, gear shift on the steering column so she saw me do this, and just sat there with my arms crossed. She still sat there fuming, so I told my nephew to go inside and tell the security guard what was happening. The guard came out and chewed her a new one. Honestly, in parking lots, even if it's like Walmart or wherever, people who don't actually respect the direction of the lane and cause issues like this are really annoying. Now, the fact that it took place in like the hospital parking lot, it's just a little upsetting. And our final story of the day is by Necreative Nenko. So a guy has misled me, and I mirrored his own crappy behavior, knowing it would hurt him. In a nutshell, was seeing a guy who I met randomly through a friend. He's asked me on multiple dates, and I've straightforwardly told him that I'm not looking for just a hookup, to which he assured me that his intentions were different, that he felt like this could go somewhere. Fast forward a month of us going on dates, talking, him being the perfect gentleman. We sleep together, and 2 days later, I get hit with a, "I've realized I'm not ready for anything serious right now, and I want to be transparent with you, let's keep it casual, BS. How convenient." So I've decided not to be an adult and play his game. I pretended to be confused, but then said that it's better for us both this way. He immediately called me and started asking why, to which I responded, "Well, I realized I don't want anything serious with you," which made him go insane. It's been a week and he's calling me every day wanting to spend time with me, trying to make me want him apparently. One thing that changed is now he's getting the full-on random hookup option treatment, obviously. Sort of been suggested this sub, after realizing I'm by far not the villain here. Yeah, I don't know, I would definitely try to keep away from this guy. It's nice to see that OP turned it back around on them after they went and just trampled all over OP's boundaries just to hook up with them. But this dude seems not right, and I'd try to keep my distance. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. So of all these stories I've read today, which is your favorite and why? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you haven't yet, if you could like and subscribe, that would mean a lot to me. Whatever you do, whether it's liking, subscribing, turning notifications on, all of it helps grow this channel, and I appreciate the heck out of it. So until next time, I'll see you all tomorrow with some more stories.